morning, everybody. So the last video I made on shopping for an RV and kind of understanding the pricing and discounts and what you should pay versus what dealers charge, and oftentimes the variances between dealerships that give you a small discount and dealerships that give you a huge discount and where you should really be. I had such good feedback from that video and a lot of really great comments and questions. Some of the feedback I got were that some folks actually shop for more like a 45% discount, and that's not a bad thing. Shop the lowest possible price you can find on the specific model you're looking for. There are some really awesome dealerships out there that offer some really amazing pricing. So I'll probably do a video at some point that talks about some of the dealerships that I think are really good places to go if you're going to be shopping for a new RV. We found the two that we bought at two different places. One of them started off with the best possible price you could get it for. The other one, not so much. We had to work our way down and really negotiate the pricing. So maybe I'll do a video that kind of talks about that whole buying process and perhaps even steer you in the direction of a few dealerships that I've heard good things about. So that being said, I got a slew of questions about buying different RVs. So I want to make some follow-up videos that address some of those questions and hopefully help you in deciding what type of RV you're going to buy. So the first question that I got was related to buying used RVs. Actually, I got several questions about buying used RVs. And I understand the logic that a lot of people have in directing you, especially if it's your first RV, towards a used model. Now, there are a lot of things you got to be really careful about. And if you're already confused about the discounts and pricing options that are available for new RVs, it gets even more confusing, believe it or not, when you're looking at used RVs. Mainly because you're not dealing in a world of discounts anymore, you're just dealing in a world of resale value. And oftentimes, the resale value you see, you may be comparing to the retail value of a new RV. So for instance, you may have a budget of $40,000 to buy a fifth wheel. When you're shopping for a new fifth wheel, the MSRP on a lot of the fifth wheels you're looking at might be $65,000, but it's selling for $40,000. Whereas, if you apply that same budget towards a used model, you may see a $40,000 RV that might be a few years old and provides you with some of the features and amenities of a brand new one. Here's what I want you to keep in mind. If you go way back to one of my older videos, you'll see the comparisons that I made between high-end RVs versus low-end RVs. And typically, the only real big differentiator between the two is the amenities inside. In some cases, it's the construction. In some cases, there are construction differences that are worth looking at. If you're looking at some DRV models and you see how they build their frames, the type of tires that they might put on, the type of axles, suspensions, brands of air conditioning, how the air conditioning is ducted, how they run their plumbing, how they run their electrical, things like that, you can see that there are definitely advantages to looking at upper scale models when you get into the premium lines. When you look at the traditional lines, which are really what most people end up looking at when they're buying a used RV, the construction between a low-cost RV and a high-cost RV are generally pretty much the same. Again, it's the amenities that make the difference. A lot of times, just the ability to market a unit with other features. So when you're shopping, especially for a used model, you also have to realize that a lot of folks sell their RVs because they can't afford them anymore, or because they're looking to upgrade and the dealerships aren't going to give them the trade-in value they want, so they're going to try to sell it on the private market. Now, the challenge with this is you really don't know what that RV's been through. You can make the argument that the previous owner did all the repairs to it, that RVs are essentially sold like crap and you have to do all these repair to it within the first year, so when you're buying a used one, you're essentially buying one that's been fixed already. But that argument isn't always true. So for instance, even though I may have an RV for 2 years and I decide to sell it, and I've done all the little things to fix all the little quirks within the first 2 years, some of the more major issues may start presenting themselves at the 2-year mark. For instance, a lot of times you're not going to know how many actual miles were on the trailer because there's no odometer. So things like tire condition come into play, wheel bearings come into play, shackles, the types of things that will wear out just by it driving down the road. Even though the physical exterior condition of the unit may look great, it may even be a current model. Also, You don't know how hard the air conditioning systems have been ran. Were they ran in an environment where they were running essentially 24/7? How much wear and tear are on those units? Another big one is, unless you've had a serious downpour, you don't know what the leak situation is. If all the slides are closed up and the unit's buttoned up tight and it's been rained on, oftentimes the leaks won't present themselves. So you have to really test it in an environment where the slides are out, where you have it in a camping mode, so you can really see what the condition of the seals are, if there's water leakage inside, if there's been water leakage. And a lot of folks will actually cover up damage as opposed to repair it. So understanding if there's any type of water damage, if there's any type of rot, what problems may exist that were covered up as opposed to repaired. So you are going to be able to find good deals out there, especially in the used market. There are people that are desperate to sell their units, but you don't want to be taken. You don't want people to sell a unit because they're desperate to get out of it because it has problems, or you don't want to be caught in a situation where somebody's just trying to push something off on you because they can no longer afford it. And in that case, you might think you're getting a good deal versus buying a new one, but at the end of the day, you're paying about the same amount. Also, financing a used one's going to be much more difficult, and you're generally going to have to go through different financing options to get a used one, or even end up paying cash out of pocket, which if you have the cash, that's fine, and that's the preferred model. One of the final things I want to point out in this specific video is when you're buying used at a dealership, the dealerships have far fewer incentives to sell a used model to you. Typically, the only reason why they have any used models at all is because people traded them in. Because somebody said, well, the only way I'll buy that new toy hauler or that new fifth wheel that you have on the lot is if you give me a good deal on mine. And a lot of times that good deal is the lowest possible offer the dealership was willing to invest in that RV to get it. The dealerships have no real incentive to sell used models. They really don't, other than to try to get them off their lot. The new ones are the ones that they're trying to turn. The last thing they want to do is to have a floor plan sitting in their lobby for months and months and months, or sitting on their showroom for months and months and months because they can't sell it. So you want to keep that in mind. That is a huge factor that you have to consider when you're shopping for RVs. When you go to a dealership and they have this lineup of used RVs out there, keep in mind that they're not really trying to sell you those. They won't mind if that's all you can buy, or if that's the unit that you've been specifically looking for and they happen to have it in a used model. Well, yeah, they may try to sell it to you, but the real incentive is for them to sell brand new units. So don't think because you're going to an RV dealership, just because they have a few used RVs on the lot, that you're going to get some extraordinary deal on them. Simply because a lot of times the used RVs that they have aren't really even that nice. The nicer ones are going to be the ones that they're trying to sell you that are new. So to summarize everything up, the point I ultimately want to make is if you're shopping for a new RV, that's fine, that's great. Look for your biggest discounts that you can get. Look for the RV dealerships that will provide you with the lowest possible price. And generally the best ones are the ones that will show you that price right off the bat, and there's really no negotiating. Most of those are national-based RV dealerships. They're not going to be your small local dealerships. I'm not saying not to buy locally, but use the national dealerships as a template to try to help you get the lowest possible price on your local RVs. And I know that that's a secret a lot of RV dealerships aren't going to want me to reveal, but it's just the way it is. Secondly, if you're going to buy used and you're looking at a used RV, shop around. Not just shop around, but really understand that if you don't know how to be technical enough to look for every little thing, every minutia of detail that could potentially cause a problem after you buy it, the last thing you want to do is end up with an RV that you feel you got a good deal on, but then immediately you're having to invest $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 in repairs on, because that happens. Slides wear out, wheel bearings wear out, tires wear out, axles wear out. There's components that wear out that can be extremely expensive to repair, and oftentimes they may have never posed the original owner a problem. They're just giving you a problem because it's at that point to where they're starting to fail and be problematic. Anyways, guys, I hope this follow-up video has been informative. The next video I'm going to do is probably going to be focused around when you go to RV shows, are those really the best value for you? Are you getting the best deal from an RV show? So look for that to come soon. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoy my channel, please like and subscribe. Thank you, everyone.